Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to my first episode of Series 2. I know it's been a while, but I'm beyond excited for Series 2 of Salon Confidential. And I'm even more excited for my first guest. In my chair today is the one and only Kelly Gates. Welcome!
It's Kate's with a C.
Gates! Oh, what did I say?
Gates.
Oh,
like
okay.
a push a Gates.
It's so bad. Simon Stope type. Oh, great start. Anyway,
We've done well.
Kelly
Take two.
Kate. No, I quite like that.
Yeah.
Kelly Kate.
It works
How do you
either
say
way.
it again?
Not like Gareth Gates, like Kelly Cates.
Kelly Cates.
Yes, the other way around.
Right. Embarrassing. How are you? I'm German. It's the German accent.
We've only ever really done first names.
But I normally never say your
It's only been
surname.
about 14 years, don't worry.
So how are you, my love?
I'm really well, thank you. I'm very excited because when I came in after the first couple of episodes of the podcast had gone out,
Yeah.
I was terrified because I was rushing to listen to them before I came in because I knew you'd ask me and I hadn't had chance. And
Yeah.
I was literally coming in on the way here with my earphones in, so going, right, okay, power listening to
At least
to try and
someone
get
is
through them.
prepared. I like it.
Yeah.
Some clients actually lied about it. I said, "What was your favorite moment?" And they're like, I'm like, "You didn't listen." And then they were worried that I gave
That's
them.
because you're terrifying. That's why.
Oh my God. I mean, that is not a good start to all of this. I'm just German. That's what they teach you in hairdresser school.
Just blunt. Yeah.
Scare your clients and then they sit straight and all of that.
And cross my legs.
Yeah.
Which I'm not
You
allowed
can,
to do. Yeah.
because normally you can't.
No, not
You
allowed
can't.
to. Yeah.
So let's go. Actually, we just mentioned hair, obviously. I mean, I do your hair for how long for now?
Must be about 14 years, I think, maybe just a bit less.
You didn't have kids then, no?
No, it was my second, but it's just born, I think. I think that was
so.
it.
It's been a long time.
It
huh?
has been a very long time, yeah.
So who is your hair icon?
My hair icon, whose hair do I love? Kate Blanchett. I
It's
love
my favorite
her.
actress, by the way.
Yeah, she's the best. I love her. And I love her hair, I love her makeup, I love her clothes, everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
She is so out there. So that
Yeah.
would be my choice as well. And
Yeah.
Kate Moss, but it's not about me, it's about you. So. And
But I couldn't pull off Kate Moss. I couldn't even pull off Kate Moss when I was young. But Kate Blanchett, I think that kind of, she's just polished enough and interesting enough with
she's
every,
so out there.
yeah.
So I love her.
Very elegant, but still quite cool.
True. So I'm glad you said it actually, because to me it's exactly the same. So second one is, what was your worst haircut or the worst hairdresser moment? Be careful
my
now,
God.
because
I've
this
had-
can be
no,
really
no, no, no.
awkward now.
Listen, I was a teenager in the late 80s, early 90s, so
Right.
I can go all the way back to there. I've had perms. There were at one stage when I was at school, I had a friend who had this beautiful, thick, naturally blonde ash hair, and she'd go and get these soft perms. So it was just all these gorgeous, soft, like tousled curls.
Yeah.
And I'd go in with, as you know, quite kind of thin, mousy hair, and I'd come out with these like frizzy messes, and it was horrendous. They were
You
not
didn't
good.
like it.
No, and I would put too much product in, and I'd have, you know, those crispy mousse
mousse.
curls, and yeah, exactly.
But I did love the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm back now. I mean, Pamela Anderson just had a new haircut.
Yeah, the
Paris
proper
fashion
sort of
with
shaggy bob.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like the proper 80s.
Yeah.
And what makes it special, your relationship with your hairdresser? Or like, obviously that's about me now,
Yeah.
which is kind of weird, but yeah, let's talk about me. No, I mean, what I mean
What
with
do you
that
love about
is
me?
because it's like, you know, I think there's something obviously why does clients always go back? That's more my
Yeah.
question. Why do you always come back to the same hairdresser, and what does it mean to
What I like about you is that you will tell me like straight. You don't kind of go, no, in a good way, because I'll come in sometimes, and sometimes I come in and I'm like, oh, you know, it's fine. I just really like just more of the same, whatever. And then
Yeah.
sometimes I come in and go, I feel like something different, or just kind of like we took quite a lot off a few
Yeah.
months ago,
Yeah.
and it was. But if I was to come in and say to you, oh, I want to do this, you'd be like, no, darling, I don't think so.
Yeah, I
That's
think
not for you. And it's like, I need that kind of guidance, but not from like a random, but from somebody who knows what they're talking about. I think that's important.
I think that's is the most important thing. That's why you have a relationship with
Yeah.
your hairdresser, because it is about that you can be honest.
Yeah.
If you just say, because I get easily, not bored, that's too strong of a
Yeah.
word, but I think you need to change things up.
You get itchy scissor fingers
Yeah.
and go, yeah, you need to.
But also sometimes just doing a little trim makes a big difference.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's Yeah, I mean, that's very important, I think, your relationship. And obviously, I'm glad that we have this
Yeah.
relationship and you're allowed to cross your legs again.
I know.
All of that, which is obviously a
Yeah.
big thing. Again, that's what you learn in German hairdressing school. So, so, but let's talk about your career.
Okay. We
Obviously,
never really talk about this.
because I've got no bloody clue about football.
And no interest.
Well, yeah,
So
it's
now
some
you can kind of
interest, but
gain an
I,
interest professionally and kind of, yeah.
yeah. So how, because I know obviously what you do right now. We get to that in
Yeah.
a moment, but I don't know. I mean, I know that your father, Kenny,
Yes.
the surname I can't
No,
pronounce.
it's fine.
Tell me one more time.
Dalglish. Yeah,
Dalglish.
yeah. That'll
Does it
do.
sound sexy when I say that with my German?
No. But
Wow.
does my father's name sound sexy when you say it?
Cut.
What kind of weird Freudian world are we in here?
Oh my God. Okay, let's skip to the next one. I'm actually blushing now as well, early on in the game. No, so I remember last time you were here, I've got this very butch, not really that butch, but straight hairdresser, nearly colleague.
By butch,
who
you just
is-
mean straight.
Exactly, in the hairdresser work, right? And he was working behind us, and I asked you which football club you support.
Yeah.
And then he came over and he said, he stopped cutting his client's hair and he came over and he said, I cannot believe that you just asked the daughter of Kenny, who is the legend from Liverpool Football Club and one of the most famous, or the most famous footballer ever.
Which team she
Which
supports.
team?
But why would you know? If you're not interested, why would you
Yeah,
know
that's
that?
true. But you do support Liverpool,
Yes,
right? Because
yeah.
you could get in big trouble now.
Yeah.
Could you imagine you'd say Manchester United? I know that.
Absolutely not. Yeah. No, there's a team you nearly stopped and just called them Manchester, but you knew to
United.
finish with United, and that was
Thank you.
because there's also Manchester City, which is
I didn't know that.
okay. That's
There are two? My God, it's getting complicated. You see, I'm into figure skating. I
Yeah.
like triple axels and double.
But you
twos.
like the World Cup. You do get into the World Cup.
Yes.
You do. You get.
And now-
and you loved when the Lionesses won. You got really emotional with the Lionesses.
quite.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that was such a big deal. The thing is, now I've got a British passport. I've been here for 25 years. And now I choose. If England is in the final, I'm suddenly obviously British if the Germans are in. But I really kind of get very angry with football.
Yeah.
It's the only
That's the
sport.
problem.
I understand why people get really angry.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
Because it's a game of small margins, and because it's really frustrating because you don't tend to have very high scoring games very often. So one goal can decide a whole tournament, and it's so there's so much jeopardy in it, I think.
I mean, the British still go on about when they won against Germany. Like, is it what like to
Yeah, but
to the World
but
Cup?
it's not the
Like,
British don't. Well, the English do, and then the Scottish and the Welsh and the Irish. But the Irish aren't British, but the Scottish and the
Yeah.
Welsh will all kind of go on about it in a different way, which is probably in the same way that you are, which is, oh my God, they're still going on about this.
They
But
still
yeah,
go, but they still go on about
yeah,
it.
yeah, 60 years later. But that's because they haven't won it since, whereas Germany have gone on and won it.
We did
since.
win it quite
Yeah.
a lot. At one point, it was like the Eurovision Song Contest. It got a little bit bored. I know much more about the Eurovision Song
Yeah.
Contest. But
See, I'm not
that's-
good on Eurovision. So if you kind of gave me Eurovision references, I'd be no good.
No,
I could probably name about 2 winners, I think.
I'm going to educate it. Next
Okay.
time when you have a haircut, you
Yeah.
can talk about football with me and I talk about the Eurovision. But how was it, going back to your dad, how was it actually growing up with a famous footballer? How is that?
Yeah, but it's not how you would understand a famous footballer now. It wasn't like that then. In that he was well known, but
Right.
it wasn't the levels that it's at now.
Because there was no social media.
There was no social media. They just didn't have that sort of branding that existed really.
Right.
And they weren't, not that he wasn't well known, but that it wasn't fame like you would understand it for like a David Beckham now,
Right.
who you would know.
I do know.
You would know David Beckham.
Maradona,
But it was
Cristiano Ronaldo,
Yes, see?
Beckenbauer.
Franz Beckenbauer,
Thank you.
yes. Who, when my dad got his 100th cap for Scotland, Franz Beckenbauer, der Kaiser,
Der Kaiser.
gave my dad his cap, his kind of gold symbolic cap. So that was his
Did
era.
you see my face already? What was the beginning? He got what?
So
Yeah?
when you make an appearance for your country, it's called, you get a cap. And I didn't realize until I was a bit older, you actually physically get a cap.
Oh,
Yeah. So I thought it was like one of those old things that you kind of talk about, and it's like symbolic. But you
Right.
actually physically get a cap, and he got a gold one when he made his 100th appearance, and Franz Beckenbauer gave it to him.
Kaiser, that's nice. I actually know more about the older player
Yeah.
who I grew up with than the
Yeah.
newer player.
Well, he
Now
he
I'm
would be that.
completely
He was
confused.
that era.
So
Yeah.
yeah. So he must be immensely proud now of what you do.
Yeah, but then for years it was a kind of there was a not a right yeah there was a tension between the kind of media and the football world. So they were on opposite sides of the fence, and
Why is
so
that?
because they would ask them questions they didn't like, they didn't want to.
Right.
So if they lost a couple of games, it'd be, what do you think's going wrong, and then they would
Oh
maybe
yeah.
get, yeah. So there was always a little bit of tension that way.
I don't know much. I know what you do now
Right.
because I've just seen you in Vogue and I've seen you all like
Vogue on
in
Rap.
my world, which I'm very excited about. But I mean, I read about you obviously now. I prepared myself. Thank you very much. But I need to know, like, how did it all start for you?
So what do you know? I did a maths degree. Do you know that's where? So that I did a maths degree, but I didn't quite finish it because I got offered a job working at Sky Sports because they were launching a new channel, and they were just employing loads of people straight out of university. And I went down and did an interview,
Right.
and then started there on a channel that you couldn't actually get because it was the launch of the, the little mini Sky dishes, the
Yeah.
little kind of oval ones that were there for a while.
Yeah.
They launched them, but they didn't launch them. You remember? God,
Yes, I do. I do.
Look, we're not talking football now. We're literally talking about cable and satellite television. I mean, you know about television. This is
This is going so well.
This is like guiding you through the world. It's kind of, do you get electricity? And we know where television
Yes,
is,
I
and we
do.
know where the
Yes, you had
But
that,
and
yeah.
then they launched kind of this new sort of satellite dish.
Yeah.
And with that came a new channel that was a 24-hour sports news channel.
Yeah.
And they just employed loads of kids out of university and said, when I was 22, and said, right, go make television and
And you
fill
like,
24 hours a day. And I was like, yeah, all right, then I'll come and do that.
did you enjoy it right from the beginning,
Yeah.
or you loved
It was
it?
terrifying, even though it really. So these dishes that I was talking about that seemed
Yeah.
to have caused some confusion, they weren't actually on the market till the Christmas, and we went on air, I think, in September.
Right.
So nobody could watch it outside of the building, really. And so I was terrified because in my mind's eye, everybody could watch this. I
Right.
felt really visible, but actually nobody could watch it. And so we were literally broadcasting to the building. And I went on, and I was 22 and tiny person with big hair and blue eyeshadow in, like, what year would this be? 1998. And
In
so
1998.
it wasn't quite blue eyeshadow, but it was.
No, I was just big hair.
like the older kind of
Yeah.
makeup artist, or the more kind of traditional makeup artists.
Yeah,
We'd go in,
which I still love.
and they were doing like the Sky News,
Yeah.
sort of, much more newsy.
Yeah.
Even in the late 90s, it was still quite, polished.
Polished.
And
Which
so,
is still now. Sometimes.
yeah,
I saw it yesterday. Someone.
and we were going in as, like, as I was saying, at 22.
Right.
And I was like, oh, no. And I'd think, oh, well, they're makeup artists. They know what they're doing. And
Right.
and some of them were brilliant. Some of them were,
Yeah.
and really, some really lovely women. And they're some of my happiest memories were going into that makeup room. It was somewhere that we went in, and we were just really, like, gossipy and silly. And one of the makeup artists I work with sort of realized that the makeup room was always the hub of all the gossip.
Yeah.
So she just started a rumor to see how long it would take before it made its way back, and it was less than a day before somebody else was sitting in her chair saying, "Oh my God, did you hear that?"
But that's another thing. I think so many clients, because they feel really safe, because
Yeah.
obviously you are extremely friendly with your clients, but you are not their friend, right? So
Yeah.
they can tell me a lot. And
Yeah.
I'm actually, you would think I'm a gossip, but I'm not.
No, you're not. You're very
I'm
discreet.
really aware of what I
You never
say
talk
or
about
not.
anyone else.
don't.
No, you don't. You don't talk about, like, you never really
see?
talk about other
You
clients,
see?
and you might, in passing mention, oh, you may have come across this person, and
Yeah.
but you would never. Oh yeah, but if you were to say something like that, I would never be able to guess who you were talking about. You're very discreet. You are.
I act it out for you next time.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to act it.
You're like, oh no, I meant to be really clear.
Come on, you should know who that was.
I thought you were sharper than that.
So, so what happened then after? So you've done that.
Yeah, so I
and
did that,
then-
and then I did that for a while, and then I left, but I left with nowhere to go to because I just wanted to change after about 8-9 years.
Yeah.
Just wanted to change. Yeah.
And then did you ever think about to do another sport, or was it always, or will it always
Once I'd
be football?
started that,
Because
it
I
was
know
always
more
gonna
about
be that.
tennis, so that's where I'm
Yeah,
going.
so I've done little bits of tennis. I've done little bits of most sport. I've worked on sailing. I've worked on like all different kinds of things. I went over and did 3 months working on the America's Cup sailing, and it was in Valencia, which was amazing. I've done all different kinds of things. I've done the Olympics. I did the first game of the WSL, which is the league that the women play in when they first kind of restructured it all.
Yeah.
I did the first televised game of that, which is Chelsea Arsenal, and that. So I've done lots of different things over the years.
That's
But
exciting, huh?
yeah, yeah.
And how do you feel now about lionesses? Like how, I mean, I'm very excited about that.
Yeah.
Quite honest. I mean, I don't know. I think I still have to get used to a little bit seeing women playing football.
Really, you still, yeah.
But I also need to get used to like that two men dance that strictly together.
Yeah.
It's something
Because
I
it's
don't know.
new, not because not
Exactly.
because you're against it. It's just a
No,
new
oh
thing
my
for
God,
you.
no,
Yeah.
I would never be against.
Because for me, it's not new. So I went to an FA Cup final, women's FA Cup final. Oh God, I'd have been a teenager with my mum years ago.
Really?
Yeah. And then so it was, but then there was a ban for 50 years, and women's football didn't become official or like officially allowed, and they set up the women's FA in I think 1971.
There was a ban.
A ban for 50 years. It was unsuitable for females.
Stop.
Yeah. So there was no kind of, it wasn't recognised officially. I mean, women could still play football. It wasn't like, the police would come and hunt you down if you were kicking a
was
ball in
just
a
about to
park.
say, like,
But it wasn't officially ratified. And I was at a lunch the other day, and I had to give an award to kind of some of the women who'd been instrumental in that happening, and they're kind of the peg on which all of this success of the Lionesses hangs. And what's really lovely is I was talking to Jill Scott the other day, and Jill said, I was sort of asking her, she was getting an award, and I was asking her about the legacy and the young girls who now felt that there was a pathway and that they were their idols. And she said, yeah, that's amazing. She said, but what I also love, and what almost means more, is the older women who come up to her and say, this wasn't a possibility for me. And you're living this life that we could only have dreamed of. And that's really moving to see these women who celebrate these achievements, but it wasn't a possibility for them.
I think that's what people are not aware a lot of times. I think it's the same like in the gay world. Like I realize how many homosexuals or like gay communities suffered. Do you know what I mean? The setup, like it was illegal, you had to hide and all of this, and now it's actually kind of normal. Not everywhere, obviously, but I mean, it's still quite scary. But it's kind of. But that's actually not a question I needed to discuss.
No, but it's a really interesting point, because I think when you said it's still awful, and it feels like in some parts of the world where you thought lots of progress had been made, things are moving backwards. And I wonder if, because, great strides have been made in lots of areas of the world, and I wonder if our generation got complacent. And I wonder if things have gone backwards on our watch. And sometimes I feel quite guilty about that.
Really?
And I think, I sometimes think maybe we should have been more vigilant. I don't think that doesn't come off the back of the Lionesses, because I think that's a separate thing. But I think the abuse that, female footballers get, the abuse that women who are covering football get now is worse than it was when I was starting out. Because it's more, two things. One is social media, so it's easier to access these women. It's easier for the guys who do it to kind of band together. And it's also easier for them to feel that they have a louder voice. And so it feels as though there's change. And so people become emboldened, and then they talk more hatefully about it. I was reading an article actually on the way in that was saying in American high schools at the moment, there's this rise of like the chill girl who doesn't speak out when guys are making sexist comments in school and they're making homophobic jokes or they're making sexist jokes or they're all this, kind of these kind of comments. And I think I feel really bad that we've allowed on our watch, like our generation, things to slip back.
Because I thought that the new generation would be definitely more outspoken
Yeah.
for years now than it was before.
Yeah.
But how is that for you? Do you experience a lot of like
No,
abuse
because
online
No,
or
because I've been around that long that people are kind of used to me a little bit, even in a small way, but also because I just don't engage with it. I don't really
you
engage with
can't
my
even read
comments.
it?
I don't read the DMs on my social
Can't.
media. I'm not on Twitter certainly anymore, and I'm only on Instagram. But I never go into my DMs. I only look at messages from people I already know.
Because what I meant more with the abuse, like I think now, obviously, you took over from Gary Lineker
Yeah,
for Match of the Day,
yeah,
which is, I think, in the football world, a big deal.
yeah,
I think,
yeah.
right? For
In
me,
your
it
opinion,
is.
in your
In
opinion.
my opinion. So bear with me, I've gone with this because for me, it's kind of like Match of the
Yeah.
Day. I even know it's
Yeah,
the
yeah. You're
biggest
aware of it. Yeah.
football
Yeah.
thing as well. That do you feel like that you accept it, that the
Well, it
audience?
helps that there's three of us doing the job. That helps because
Yeah,
it diffuses that a little bit.
yeah,
And Gabby and Mark have both done it before,
yeah,
so they're familiar to the audience. And I was
yeah,
the new person coming in,
yeah,
but they're both really, really old friends of mine. I've known them both for decades,
yeah.
so it feels like it's the three of us, and it's a kind of shared, a sort of shared thing. So it
So
doesn't
it's not like
really.
that people
It
go like another woman or like what
No,
do they know about
because
football?
yeah, I'm sure there are people who do that, but I don't see it.
Yeah,
It
no,
wouldn't
I
make any
totally get
difference to
that.
me whatsoever.
I totally get,
Yeah,
but I always thought about that because it's still. I mean, now I think with the lionesses, it changed certainly for me.
yeah,
That you kind of think about. That it's obviously they won a lot of things
yeah,
now, and also what I'm very proud of them is that they are so open with their sexuality. That
yeah,
they are so open about I'm married to a woman and all of it's
yeah,
so normal.
yeah, yeah,
I never understand that with men. It's like I remember that young guy coming out 2 years ago, and it
yeah,
was like the biggest thing ever
yeah, yeah.
for everyone
And
writing about it.
often it's been players who've retired.
So yeah, so with Match of the Day, I remember that I read about it,
Yeah.
right? And then you came in and you didn't tell me. I was so
No,
like
because
you
because
couldn't.
it was in the paper before it
It
was
got
official.
yes.
Yeah. And then I came in and you were asking me about it and I was like, I can't say
No,
anything.
no.
I can't say anything.
I
It's kind
stood there with my sister. I said, I'm gonna cut your fringe up to your hairline if you don't, and you still didn't tell
Yeah.
me. That is impressive.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
impressive.
But I didn't, I only told my mum. That was it. Until it was official, I only told my mum because because it was either, it was really hard because how you have circles of friends
Yeah,
and each circle gets bigger and bigger.
yeah,
And I thought once I go outside of that one person,
yeah.
then suddenly it's three people. Then the next step is 10 people. Then it starts to get big and then the rumor starts to spread and then you're not in control of it anymore.
Well, I thought it would be your mother and me, but obviously not.
Yeah.
That's just fine. I'm not gonna take that personal. So how we covered already, like because I was really interested in that, like how it was for you to grow up with a famous
Yeah.
dad, right?
Yeah.
How is it for your kids now? You
They don't
must,
care. They could
but you
care
must
less.
be more recognized now and on all of that on
Not
the streets and
really.
stuff.
Once in Marks and Spencer's, a guy stopped me a few years ago and said, "Oh, I really like watching you, and I love the way how you keep a couple of guys in order and whatever." And we got back to the car, and my daughters were in hysterics. They thought this was the funniest thing, and they're like, "I can't believe a guy came up to you in Marks and Spencer's. That's the most random thing." Oh. And then that's it. Really, they mostly don't really bother. They don't care. Like they could not be less interested.
You see,
Yeah.
I would walk around in school completely, but that is just
No,
me. I would be
no.
like,
And and also when I was keeping it a secret, and obviously the girls would be in the car while I was having conversations about it, and I said, you're old enough now that you can know about this and to keep it a secret, and this is grown up stuff, and you need to be. And they were like, yeah, yeah, yeah.
don't
And then I
mention it.
got, and then I got the job,
Yeah.
And I said, it's official now, so it's not a secret anymore. And you can tell people if you want. And there was a pause, and my eldest just went, right. She went, and who's going to ask about you? And I was like, right, okay.
That's
So that's
harsh, huh?
okay. She went, I'm not being mean about it. She went, but literally nobody will talk about you when I go into school tomorrow. I was like,
But then when she wants to get into a nightclub soon, she will go like, "Do you know who my mother is?
yeah,
Thank
no,
you."
no,
No,
no.
but that
It
is a
doesn't
good
carry.
thing.
It doesn't
That is
carry
a
that much
good
weight.
thing.
Yeah.
Because I always wonder how that must feel like having a famous parent. Oh my God, that
Yeah,
must be.
but not really. I wouldn't class it as fame. I wouldn't.
No?
It's not. That's not what it is. No, like famous is different. You see famous people, like
What's the
mostly.
difference for you?
Well, because I'm around footballers. I'm around people who can't walk through a crowd without being stopped a lot.
Yeah, yeah,
Like and like famous people.
yeah.
And that
Like
like what I
Madonna
am
and
is not.
Cher and
And yeah, yeah.
Barbara
No, but yeah,
Streisand.
and then when there's that level, I mean, that's like
Yeah, and
iconic level.
Cristiano Ronaldo and all
Yeah,
just
yeah,
the
yeah.
sort of
Yeah, yeah.
footballers in there. Thank you.
Yeah, but yeah, do you know, that's that. But they're a different level altogether.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
there's
yeah.
that kind of global fame.
Yeah.
But even like properly famous people, it's not. Yeah, being off the telly isn't really properly famous.
Yeah, no, I know what
Yeah.
you mean. But I think always like I don't know, I'm always in my head, it's the whole football thing, right? It's like how when I watch like a World Cup and sometimes how the fans are, I
Yeah.
find it so first of all scary
Yeah.
and I find it so inappropriate and I
But
just don't
you just
but
said
I do
football
that
makes you
I
angry.
mean, yes, but I wouldn't be angry like on the streets or like
But
I'm
but the
angry
thing,
in my living
yeah,
room. And the most angry I get is actually when they just fall around on the floor.
yeah,
When nobody even touched them and they dive on is it dive or whatever
yeah,
they
yeah,
do
yeah,
it.
yeah. See,
Oh
look,
my God, I'm getting really into this now, thank you. And I don't get that part.
yeah,
Like you get paid so much money.
yeah,
Come on, kick the ball and not some I find it really strange.
yeah,
That whole thing.
yeah,
The acting of it all, the
yeah.
drama, and that makes me angry.
So it does in a game that I sort of feel that matters. It frustrates me, but
Yeah.
sometimes I'll watch a game that feels like a spectacle. And I remember going to a game in the World Cup where it was Argentina against Mexico, and it was there were really tall sides to the stadium, and the fans were amazing. Like both sets of fans were incredible, and it right up in the sort of gods of the stadium, you couldn't see really what was happening on the pitch, and suddenly all that kind of rolling around and all that kind of melodramatic kind of behavior made sense because it was theater, because you couldn't see. It's not when you watch it on TV, you're from here to there to the player, you can see what's going on, but when you're watching it from miles away, all you can see is the drama of the reaction. And it kind of made sense to me in a way that it sort of hadn't done before, because it plays into that whole kind of emotional
Which it is. It's
scenario
like
of it. Yeah,
theater.
it was. That's exactly that.
It's like
It was.
theater.
Yeah.
I mean, I still haven't been, and I did mention it to you a few times, so I'm gonna bring it up on
You know, there are
camera now.
people who love
But
football and are obsessed with football who can't get tickets.
I
You can't
know.
just go, darling, I'd really like to go to, I'd really like to go to hospitality at Chelsea.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Can you fix that for me?
That's what I actually said to you. I said, "Can you
It
just
was-
get me into a
I'd like
box,
to go near my house
champagne,
in a box with free champagne."
canapes,
Yeah.
and warm seat with a cashmere blanket?
Yeah.
That's what I want." And
Yeah.
you looked at me and you went,
preferably dropped
like
off
my head.
outside the door. I won't be getting the tube or the bus there.
"Now I would love to go
Can
at
you
some
fix me a
point."
car?
Everything, helicopter.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would love to go because I do. Because I also remember, I mean, bring it down as all of this. I've never had any issues in my life since I moved here 25 years
Yeah.
ago with being German and living here.
Yeah.
But I remember that one World Cup, which I think we actually won.
Right.
We were in the final, and I
Brazil?
think we won it.
Would it be
I
Brazil?
think.
Yeah.
When was that?
2014?
Yeah, that's the one. Thank you. This is what I'm trying to say is that's the first time I didn't feel welcome in this country. I remember the headline or the front page was the German national team kind of like dressed up in uniforms and all of this. So they went straight in with the whole war thing. And I went to my local corner shop and the guy met me many, many times to get all my sweets and said, and he, "Oh, you're watching the football. I hope you're not supporting the Germans." And I was like, what? I am German.
Yeah.
And they interviewed people on the street before the final, and every single one said, I'm not supporting the crowds.
Oh, that's so
And
strange.
I was like, it was even on the news in Germany.
Yeah.
And then we won. Ha!
Yeah, but when
Thank you.
Scotland went to the Euros in Germany, Scotland fans made friends with the Germany
Yeah.
fans to the extent that there's talk about setting up a friendly every year so they could all
You
meet up.
see?
Yeah.
Oh, that
So
is
they
so-
can set
oh,
up
I
a
love
match.
the Scots.
And they
That's
did
so nice. I did-
and they did they would kind of do these walks. So they would meet at the fan parks, and then so that everybody got there on time and safely and kind of didn't overload the public
Germany.
transport system. They would do, I mean, it was a couple of miles maybe they would walk, or a mile maybe, and they would walk to the stadium, and they would all walk together. They had like bagpipes, and the Netherlands fans do the bounce as they walk, which I'll show you when we come off air because that's really good fun. But the Scotland fans and the Germany fans got on so well, and like the people in like all the cities that they visited were like, "Oh my God, we love them! They're amazing. We've had a great time."
And
So
now
it's
they're
really
going to do like
lovely.
a friendly game.
They won't, but they wanted to, and that was on the news when I was in Germany. It was kind of and like made like the news reports about how brilliant it was and how well they were all
I
getting on.
love that.
And there was
You see, that's nice.
there was like
to
a
see.
Scotland fan holding an umbrella over an old lady who was crossing the road and all that kind of thing, and it was a big thing.
But
when
are
we were
they
over
not
there.
voted like the best fans in the world or something?
Like,
Or-
unfortunately, we're not qualified for that many tournaments, but we might be qualifying for the World Cup. So it's
So when is that
Yeah.
next year? Is it correct?
next year
In America.
in America, Canada, and Mexico. So
Anyone
across the three.
impressed that I've noticed?
Yeah, really good.
So
But
England
when
is
I was-
qualified.
But what was
You made
it when on the Germany thing? When I was at the World Cup in Germany in 2006, it was a big thing about the flag, about the Germany flag, because Germany got to the semi-finals of the tournament.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. And I was in a taxi in Berlin, and the taxi driver was saying we never really
Never.
waved flags. It
Never.
was not a thing
Never.
until that World
Yeah.
Cup. And it became
Even
like
my
it was like
mother
a
got
really
one.
cathartic
Yeah.
moment.
I think it's to do with the war because
Yeah,
we
that's what he
never
said.
ever walked. I think it was just not what you did.
Yeah.
I always remember I used to live with an American guy and they were waving the flag every 2 seconds. Or they would say on America's Got Talent, America, you voted.
Yeah.
You would never say that in Germany. Germany, you voted. You don't, it's not happening. But I think even my mother got a German flag and it was a big thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, when I watched the final, when we won, I remember I was at Soho House and in the end I bought champagne for everyone. So I was so drunk, but different story. But I wore like a tricot and I had like the flag and that was so weird for me.
Yeah.
I didn't even want to wear, but I wear the Union Jack t-shirts all and wave the flag when the king or the queen came
Yeah.
past. Isn't it weird?
Yeah.
I mean, what I meant as well is like now you were in Vogue, you are doing all, which I'm so excited for you, maybe even for me to see you like that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like your Instagram and the whole fashion of it and the hair. And I think for me, that's quite important with football as well, that there's this glamour.
Well,
you know?
it's interesting because I think for a long time I was just kind of I was quite steady in my choices. It was very much black, navy grey,
Yeah.
maybe like a trouser suit
Yeah.
or like a really simple top. And
Yeah.
part of that is because clean lines work best on telly and
Yeah.
simple things work best. That's part of it. And also you know, I tend not, I don't want to wear team colours because you kind of, you start wearing colour, you can't really do,
If
it
Germany
just looks
plays,
a
you
little bit.
can. You can when Germany plays.
Yeah. Okay.
So do you have like
Black,
a whole
white, and
beauty
gold.
team behind you now? Like, do you have, I mean, obviously a makeup
Whole
artist, a whole beauty team, that sounds like a whole army. Now, what I mean
I
is
never
like,
travel anywhere without them, as you
Of course
see.
not.
I came
Like
in with a whole
Mariah-
crew today.
like
kind of
Mariah
thing.
Carey.
I love the idea that I've come in with a whole crew today when what I really did was turn up with a lipstick in a bag.
No, but what I mean for
Although you
Charlie,
do
do
my-
you use the same hairdresser? Or do you try to?
No, there's one makeup artist who does hair and makeup.
Right.
Layla does most of the things I work on.
Right.
But then there are other sort of freelancers that I work with at different times.
Because a lot of chats I had before, my series 1 was kind of like telly hair.
Yes, yeah, I get in trouble because I'm always, if I read my notes, I try not to be looking at my notes when I'm working.
Right.
So but I am looking at them in between. And I always lean forward, and then I end up putting my hair behind my ears and like running my hands through it, and then I get
Yes.
told off because it's like you've got a bit sticking out there, and you've got a bit here, and then they spend ages doing hair and makeup, and then we go and stand pitch side, and it's pouring with rain and blowing a gale,
I would cry.
and they just sort of look at me and go,
I would cry. Literally, I would be
Yeah.
there with an, like, I
Yeah.
would cry.
And now it's shorter. I can't just like put it back and sort of make it neat and tidy.
But do you feel like if someone would touch your hair now, obviously not me, do you feel like, oh, that's not going well?
Um,
Or
I
like
don't.
that they're overdo, because we talked
I
about before.
sometimes,
That's what I'm
sometimes,
that
yeah,
that you go like, oh, I
I
don't.
like you would do it with like a bend in it, and I
Yeah,
like it quite wavy
yeah,
and like kind of messy a little bit.
yeah,
But it's really hard to explain that to people who want to make it curly
yeah, yeah.
and want to make it really pristine. And I'm like, that's not what I want, and it's not how it suits me, and it's not how it's meant to be.
Because it's the same, like
That's why, yeah,
for weddings as well. Like when the hairdressers just overdo it.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
talent
yeah,
to keep hair very natural. I
yeah,
mean, obviously the flyaway and all of that.
yeah, yeah,
But I mean, I just remember that you said that a few times
yeah,
that
yeah.
you kind of it's all too styled and you want to
Sometimes it feels a little
natural.
bit too, yeah, it
I
can
would
feel a
freak
little
out
bit
if
too
there would be
done.
some wind. I would move you inside. It's like off the pitch.
Yeah. See,
Sorry, I
that's the
can't
thing. It's
handle
somewhere
that.
between two done and pitch side with a, okay, I'm standing there with an umbrella ready to take off like Mary Poppins kind of a thing.
Because
Like
you are
my
outside a
face.
lot, huh?
Yeah, yeah,
You are outside, and you have to
yeah.
go to see all the matches, I assume. You see, that's how little
Yeah,
I know. Do you watch? You obviously,
do
yeah,
I have to go to the, yeah,
you have to
I have
go
to
all
watch
of them.
them. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I don't just go in.
Why is that?
I don't just go in blind and go, so what did you think?
Could
What
you
did you
not
see?
just
Yeah.
like, do like a 10-minute all
Was
around?
were there goals? Did you?
You know how many people will listen to this and will be like, it's like he
Yeah.
needs to go back to a
Do you
football
watch?
school.
Do you watch the games? Yes.
Oh, I mean, do you have to?
Yeah.
I know, stop.
No, we do. But I know what you mean. We do things from the studio. We do games from the
Thank
studio as
you.
well. Is
That's
what you
what
meant.
I meant.
Yes,
Not
we do.
not really. I
And
actually.
so, and the grounds all have studios as well. So sometimes we're a little bit pitch side, a little bit studio, a little bit kind of.
You see?
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
So it did make
Yeah,
sense, my
it did.
question.
But it was funnier the other way.
I just love it for you. I don't want to be patronizing, but I love it that we've got another woman. I'm happy for the Lionesses. Now I would hope that there are more football players coming out telling us all they're living with a man and all
Yeah.
of that, because I still don't understand why it's such a big issue in
Yeah.
the world. But I get it. It's the
Yeah.
same with actors and all of that. I mean, I had dinner recently with 4 gay friends, and we went through all who we think they are gay, and there were literally no straight men left after, which was quite weird. I
Was
said,
that just a wish list?
maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, listen, darling, it's been such a great honor
been
to
so
have you
lovely.
here, and actually, I learned a lot about
Yeah.
football. This is so.
This is not the chat we normally have. This is like,
For a reason. Like next time I ask you what you would be like,
Yeah.
Andreas, let it go. Let's no, maybe
Yeah.
not. But yes, so first guest on my first episode of Series 2. So that
thank
was
you.
like such a pleasure to have you. So yes, thank you very much,
Thank
darling. And I see you very, very soon.
see you soon.
Lots of love.
Thank you.